Isha, why don't you share with us on what exactly you're studying, you're doing undergrad, and you're being trained in business now. You come through various people. So what is it you have figured out on effective ways of communication?
Yeah, I think the most that I figured out about communicating effectively has been in the past 3 to 4 years, right after school got over, because that's when you understand the importance of it, how you can use it as a tool. And I think I learned it the most because I went to college with people that came from very different backgrounds, completely diverse. I went to a foreign nation, so I had to learn to speak in their language so that they understood what I was trying to say. Even working with people of different age groups, you need to know how to do these things. So I think the four main, let's say, keys that I took from it was, so number one, it is knowing when to speak and when not to. I've learned that having the last word in every conversation doesn't mean that you've necessarily won it. You don't win a conversation. Staying quiet and listening when it isn't your place to communicate actually makes you better and establishes that trust and relationship between you and that person, and it makes you learn more about people around you. So tomorrow when you meet someone like this person, it makes it easier for you to relate to them. It makes you understand your audience, and like I mentioned before, that is the key to having effective communication, knowing who you're talking to. The second key would be body language and tone is very important. I agreed with you completely on that. There are many times where you get into a negotiation or get into a heated discussion and your language immediately becomes very defensive. Like, your posture becomes very, very defensive. And you tend to utilize an overall negative tone to when you're speaking. You're very shrill, you're very sharp. Now, as soon as you do this, the listener is going to mirror your body language. They're going to mirror your tone, and they're going to completely shut down. So no matter how perfect your words are or how clear your message is, even if you're right in an argument, the listener is uninterested because now they can no longer absorb the content you have to say. The third point that I would say is staying focused and concise. A lot of times when we get into a conversation, it's very easy for it to spill over to another topic and then go to another, and you just completely lose track of what you came in to say, especially when maybe the point that you're trying to make is a little awkward, it's a little tough to ask for it, you're not feeling very confident saying these things. It's very easy for you to take comfort in small talk and just forget what you really had to say. Now you come out of the conversation feeling like you spoke about everything, except for what actually needed to be addressed, except for what actually had to be dealt with. Now, it's our responsibility to go past the awkward boundaries, to stay true to the message and stay confident. Keep your message concise and clear, because if you stay true to it and stay directed in that conversation, this forces the listener to focus and stay on the same page as you. The fourth thing, and the thing that I'm still working on, is don't assume anything. People come from different backgrounds and different ways of life.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So just because something is true to you, it doesn't mean they subscribe to the same thing. So instead of assuming that everyone's on the same page and everything is common sense, keep the lines of communication open and strengthen your point. Assume that everyone's a blank slate, and if you need them to know something or do something, you need to openly communicate that to them, because they're not going to magically know. So I think these would be like the 4 keys that I carry with me when I want to.
Very true. That assumption is a very right point you said. Half the things is on assumptions. Yeah. People just assume everything. எனக்கு ரொம்ப பயம் அசம்ஷன்ஸ் தான். அசம்ஷன்ஸை வச்சு எந்த டெசிஷனும் எடுத்துடக்கூடாது லைஃப்ல. அது எல்லாமே தப்பாயிடும். ஸோ எல்லாருமே அசம்ஷன்ஸ், ஏன்னா அவங்க பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் வியூலே திங்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறது தான் அசம்ஷன். வாட் இஸ் அசம்ஷன்? என்னோட பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் வியூல அது ரைட்டுன்னு நான் நினைக்கிறதே அசம்ஷன் தான். I have to go and clarify and verify and validate. Then only it becomes a fact. Assumption is not equal to a fact at all. Only fact is a fact. And the fact verification, clarification, that's the part of communication. It's an ongoing process. Adu life la vandu continuous in a husband and wife, with children, with your colleagues at work, and with your customers, with the outside world, with your friends. And the clarification, assumption la da assumption illama at all time it has to be clarify, verify, validate. Clarify, verify, validate. இத பண்ணிட்டே வந்தோம்னா நிறைய அந்த misunderstanding and the gaps வந்து எல்லாமே போய்டும். What you are saying is very, very true.